In the bustling city of Shenzhen, where skyscrapers gleam with neon ambition and tech startups emerge daily, one company stood out not just for its innovation, but for the shock that would eventually engulf it. At the center was Zhang Wei, a charismatic and brilliant tech CEO whose company, Quantum Vision, promised to revolutionize artificial intelligence. Investors, employees, and the media hailed him as a visionary. But beneath the surface of success, a storm was brewing, one that would turn ambition into horror, turning his office into a crime scene that would shock the nation. The rise of a tech visionary, Zhang Wei had always been driven. From a modest upbringing in Guangzhou, he rose through the ranks of China's tech sector, blending sharp intellect with a relentless work ethic. By his early 30s, he founded Quantum Vision, a startup focused on AI-powered robotics and data analytics. His company quickly attracted venture capital, and Zhang became a media darling, frequently appearing on tech panels and in business magazines. Employees admired him for his brilliance and energy. He could inspire teams to work long hours, often promising them that the work they were doing would change the world. Investors believed in his vision, and clients trusted his judgment. But behind closed doors, Zhang was volatile. Colleagues reported mood swings, sudden outbursts, and a growing obsession with perfection and control. Those closest to him described him as increasingly paranoid. He scrutinized emails, monitored office interactions, and demanded absolute loyalty. Some employees left quietly, sensing the pressure was unsustainable. Others stayed, motivated by ambition or fear of losing lucrative career opportunities. The pressure builds. By 2022, Quantum Vision was under intense scrutiny. Competitors were catching up. Investors were demanding results, and deadlines loomed large. Zhang's obsession with success and fear of failure intensified. He became increasingly isolated, working late into the night in his office, sometimes for 18 hours at a stretch. Colleagues noticed subtle signs of mental strain. Zhang would snap at minor mistakes, throw objects across the office, and frequently speak in fragmented, paranoid sentences about sabotage and betrayal. Rumors circulated that he suspected colleagues of leaking proprietary information, even though there was no evidence. The stress of running a high-stakes startup, combined with his growing paranoia, created a volatile mix, a pressure cooker waiting to explode. The day of the incident, it all came to a head on a Tuesday morning in June 2023. Employees arrived at the Quantum Vision headquarters to find the lobby unusually quiet. Inside the office, the scene was almost surreal. Furniture was overturned, glass shattered across the floor, and computers were smashed. Bloodstains marked the walls and carpeting. Zhang Wei had snapped. Reports later indicated that he had attacked multiple colleagues during a meeting, using office tools as weapons. Panic spread as employees fled, some managing to lock themselves in rooms until authorities arrived. By the time police entered, the office had been transformed into a crime scene reminiscent of a battlefield. The victims were taken to hospitals, some gravely injured. One employee did not survive the attack. Witnesses described Zhang as calm but detached, moving methodically among his victims. It was as though his fury was channeled with terrifying precision. The motive and psychology investigators struggled to understand Zhang's motive. There was no financial theft, no revenge on a competitor, and no clear external trigger. Instead, his actions appeared to stem from a combination of paranoia, extreme stress, and a fractured mental state. Psychologists analyzing the case suggested that Zhang's breakdown was a result of cumulative pressures: the relentless pace of startup culture, the intense scrutiny of investors, and his personal obsession with control. The office, which had once been a place of innovation and creativity, became a theater for his rage and distorted sense of justice. Colleagues who survived described a pattern. Zhang would meticulously document minor mistakes, exaggerate perceived slights, and internalize criticism as betrayal. On the day of the attack, these pressures reportedly reached a tipping point: the crime scene. The office was a disturbing combination of high-tech design and chaos. Monitors were smashed, documents torn, and personal belongings scattered. Forensic teams discovered blood splatter patterns consistent with both blunt force trauma and stabbing, suggesting that Zhang had used multiple implements during the attack. Interestingly, investigators found that certain areas of the office had been cleared. indicating premeditation in the moment. Some rooms were untouched, while others bore the brunt of his fury. This selective targeting suggested a methodical aspect to the violence, as though Zhang had decided who would bear the consequences of his breakdown. Digital evidence from computers and phones revealed that Zhang had been obsessively monitoring employee communications for weeks, adding a chilling layer of intent to the incident. He had created logs, annotated emails, and tracked movements, indicating that his actions, while extreme, were not entirely spontaneous. The response and arrest emergency services arrived within minutes of the initial calls, securing the building and evacuating survivors. Police confronted Zhang in his office, where he refused to comply initially, brandishing improvised weapons and issuing cryptic warnings about betrayal and failure. After a tense standoff, tactical units subdued him without further casualties. Zhang was taken into custody and placed under psychiatric evaluation. Initial assessments indicated severe paranoia, possible delusional thinking, and a personality disorder exacerbated by extreme stress. Authorities emphasized that while his mental state contributed to the incident, his actions were deliberate and intentional, making him fully responsible under the law. The investigation unfolds. In the weeks following the incident, investigators pieced together the events leading up to the attack. Interviews with employees revealed Zhang's obsessive behavior, threats, and erratic moods. Financial audits, email reviews, and digital forensics painted a picture of a man who had been unraveling mentally while trying to maintain the appearance of a successful CEO. Authorities discovered a hidden journal in Zhang's office detailing his fears of betrayal, sabotage, and corporate espionage. Entries became progressively darker, documenting his perceived persecution by employees and competitors. This journal became crucial evidence, demonstrating his psychological trajectory leading to the attack. Additionally, investigators examined the startup's culture, noting that extreme pressure, unrealistic deadlines, and blurred boundaries between work and personal life had contributed to a toxic environment. While Zhang's actions were ultimately his own, the corporate culture may have accelerated his mental deterioration. The public shock. The news of the Quantum Vision office attack shocked China's tech industry and the public at large. Media outlets highlighted the dangers of high-pressure startup culture and the importance of mental health awareness. Investors, previously captivated by Zhang's charisma and vision, expressed disbelief at how a once brilliant entrepreneur could descend into violence. Social media erupted with discussions about the intersection of ambition and mental health. Users debated whether extreme corporate pressure should be considered a contributing factor in cases of workplace violence. Many compared the incident to global stories of tech leaders snapping under pressure, highlighting the universal risks of unchecked stress and isolation. Legal proceedings. Zhang Wei faced multiple charges, including attempted murder, manslaughter, and assault. During court proceedings, his defense team argued that severe mental illness impaired his judgment, citing psychiatric evaluations. Prosecutors countered that his actions were calculated and deliberate, pointing to his pre-attack monitoring of employees and selective targeting as evidence of intent. The trial drew intense media coverage, with journalists examining both the crime and the broader implications for workplace culture. Witness testimony from survivors was harrowing, describing the moments of terror, the betrayal by someone they admired, and the chaos that unfolded in a place meant for innovation. In 2024, Zhang was sentenced to life imprisonment, with some courts emphasizing the need for long-term psychiatric monitoring. The ruling underscored the balance between acknowledging mental illness and holding individuals accountable for violent actions. The aftermath for Quantum Vision. Quantum Vision did not survive the scandal. Investors pulled funding, employees resigned en masse, and the company was forced to declare bankruptcy. The office building remained sealed for months as authorities conducted ongoing investigations. Former employees struggled with trauma, counseling, and reintegration into the workforce. Support groups were formed to address the psychological aftermath, emphasizing the impact of workplace violence and betrayal by trusted leaders. The case became a cautionary tale in corporate and tech circles, highlighting the need for mental health support, ethical leadership, and monitoring the warning signs of extreme stress or instability among executives. The lessons learned. The Zhang Wei case offers sobering lessons for corporate leaders, employees, and the public. First, extreme pressure and isolation can exacerbate underlying psychological vulnerabilities, particularly in high-stakes industries like tech startups. Second, charisma and apparent brilliance do not protect against dangerous behavioral patterns. Third, vigilance and mental health support are critical in preventing workplace tragedies. Perhaps most importantly, the case demonstrates how trust and admiration can become dangerous when wielded by someone whose grip on reality is compromised. Colleagues and employees can be targets not because of personal failure, but because of the distorted perception of a leader's mind. It is a cautionary tale for all industries. The pursuit of success must never come at the expense of mental well-being, and the signs of instability must be recognized before brilliance turns deadly. In the end, the line between vision and violence is thin, and when crossed, it can destroy lives, careers, and reputations in ways that echo far beyond the walls of a single office.